I'm solo talking about the hurricane season, which is underway. We've had a couple very short-lived storms so far this season. For more on that, here is Ryan Duggar.
Over the past week, the tropics have been stirring up in activity, producing two named systems, but both have been very short-lived. Last Tuesday, Tropical Storm Andrea was able to form over the Atlantic over a 12-hour period, holding on to tropical storm status, putting off max sustained winds around 40 miles per hour. The minimum speeds required for a named system is at 39 miles per hour. So this was definitely a marginal system as it was well away from the U.S. Moving on to the Bay of Campeche, just yesterday, Tropical Storm Barry was able to form off the coastline of Mexico, and as it made its way towards Mexico, it made landfall last night as a tropical depression, but it put off max sustained winds around 45 miles per hour, so a little bit stronger than Andrea, but not really a very significant system. But Tropical Storm Barry was actually a little bit ahead of the curve when looking at the past hurricane seasons from 1991 to 2020. On average, the second named storm is usually named on July 17th. The earliest of those has been Tropical Storm Bertha that formed May 27th of 2020, and 2020 was one of the most significant hurricane seasons on record. The latest was August 15th of 2009 when Tropical Storm Bill formed, becoming Hurricane Bill over the next couple of days. And something to note, 2024, last year, the second named storm, Hurricane Beryl, was able to break records, becoming the earliest Category 5 storm to develop in history.
All right, so two storms already in the books, trash storms, if you ask me. Both of these could have gone unnamed, and I don't think anyone would be complaining. Let me show you this from the National Hurricane Statement on National Hurricane Center statement on Tropical Storm Andrea when it was forming that morning. So there was a burst of convection, really only for a couple hours, deep convection, honestly, if you were tracking the satellite picture. But in their discussion, and I highlighted it there in yellow, even though deep convection is now decreasing, blah, 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 has met criteria as being classified as a tropical storm, albeit a marginal one. So even in their discussion, they admitted that. Andrea was a marginal storm. And then over the weekend, we had Barry form, and the satellite representation was not very good. The hurricane hunters were out there flying around. So in this discussion, when it becomes a tropical storm, though it is not terribly well organized, and it certainly was not, the hurricane hunters did find a drop zone with a surface wind gust of 39 knots, I should say, a wind gust. So really not confirmation that we had sustained winds of 35 knots making the tropical storm. So it was a marginal system. You know, back in the day, these types of systems would have gone unnamed because they were just so weak and we didn't have the technology to get in there to really analyze what was happening. But hey, at the end of the day, we have A and B in the book. So we'll keep watching the hurricane season.